Stress is almost like a synonym for everyday life. Everyone experiences it, especially these days. You often hear phrases like, "I'm so stressed," or "it's so stressful." That's because stress is your body's way of reacting to a challenge or a threat. Now and again, stress can be good for you because it helps you avoid danger or pushes you to get something done. But if it keeps happening, it can put your health at serious risk. On today's program, we'll talk about stress, its effects on your physical as well as mental health, and how best to manage it. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. Welcome to MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. When you feel sad, worried, or when you experience change or challenges, also known as stressors, your body produces physical and mental responses that allow you to fight or flee. That's called stress. With us is Dr. Eduardo Yambao Jr. He's the head of preventive cardiology and rehabilitation at the Asian Cardiovascular Institute of the Asian Hospital and Medical Center. We also have Dr. Roberto Mirasol. He's the former section chief of endocrinology, diabetes, and metabolism at the St. Luke's Medical Center. Thank you both for joining us here on today's program. Now, when you think of stress, it's usually associated with a negative emotion. But actually, stress can be a good thing at some extent. Dr. Ed, tell us, why can stress be good for us?
Moderate amount of stress can be beneficial for us because this could enhance connections between the brain, and this could lead to a good attention span, better concentration, and better memory. So what happens is the person becomes more productive and more focused in his work. So moderate stress can have a lot of advantage for us.
Yes, so stress is your body's way of helping you adjust to new circumstances or react to life-threatening situations. Dr. Bob, what happens to the body when stressed?
When you are stressed, and if it's chronic, meaning that you get stressed all the time, your body reacts differently from all these stresses. First, your heart rate beats faster, your blood pressure goes up, then you start to have different ways of thinking, and you might be so tired and depressed and do a lot of things which actually you shouldn't be doing during these stressful situations.
And once these challenges or threats have been dealt with, your body can now return to its normal state. But Dr. Bob, you also mentioned about chronic stress. What happens if you're stressed all the time when this chronicity is sustained?
So the hormonal changes with acute stress is you increase adrenaline. Adrenaline are your stress hormones, and this will make your heart beat faster. You're a little bit you have more strength to do things. So that's acute stress. But when this is chronic, meaning that you're always having increase of heart rate, increase of blood pressure, increase of the stressful situation, then it's very hard to adjust to this. And this will lead to chronic hypertension, chronic tachycardia, heart rate, and then also it will lead to some form of depression.
Naturally, over time, chronic stress will impact your physical as well as your mental health. So recognize some warning signs which can help catch stress-related illnesses early on. Dr. Bob, what are some of the most common symptoms of stress?
These are chronic stress wherein you feel it's so down because of all of these stresses. You feel so heavy, you can't move, you can't do anything, and you're led to inactivity. Sometimes also the reaction of our body is actually to eat more, and you end up having increase of weight. And that is also a bad thing for people who also have in the background some form of disease like diabetes and hypertension.
Here's an interesting fact. Your body can't usually tell the difference between emotional or physical stress. So whether you're stressed over a tight scoring game on TV or a life or death situation, chronic stress can lead to serious health problems. And among them is hypertension. Dr. Ed, how can stress lead for someone's high blood pressure to be uncontrollably high?
During stress, Doc Freddy, our body, as what Doc Bob mentioned, would release chemicals that would place it in a fight and flight or emergency mode. And these chemicals can cause our heart to beat faster. It will also cause the tubes in our heart, the blood vessels, and even the rest of the body to become narrow. It will also tighten the muscles around the body. And this could lead to high blood pressure.
Okay, then that is why too much stress for too long is definitely bad for your heart. Now, low doses of stress can be actually good for your immune system. The stress response is your body's way of protecting you from threats, and this includes injuries as well as infections. Dr. Bob, how does stress or a moderate amount of stress, a low amount of stress, help prevent infections?
So you develop the immune process is activated once you have a stressful situation. And this, in a sense, is helpful because this will help you get an infection control if you have an acute infection, or if there's a cut or something which is a stressful situation, that your body reacts to it in a very good way. All right. However, at the end of when it is chronic, that lies a problem because your patients now will have decreased immunity now. They will weaken immune responses, and they will be subjected to more diseases which they don't like.
Whether you're battling an infection or experiencing hypertension or a heart disease, your body works overtime to keep you awake as well as alert. And this could lead to a lack of sleep. Dr. Bob, how does sleep deprivation naman affect one's overall health?
Yeah, we all know that we need some sleep, some form of sleep, because it will rest our body. So the approximate amount of sleep that we tell our patients about 8 hours, but most of our patients will actually be 6 to 8 hours sleeping. And then it should be good kind of sleep that they're getting, not the light kind of sleep. When you're stressed, usually because of all of these problems that you're thinking, you're prone to be a light sleeper. And then it's not a deep sleep that you like. It's not the restful sleep that you like. So when you wake up in the morning after a sleep that it's not restful, then you feel so tired. So it's very important to get adequate amount of sleep, the right number of sleep, and it has to be a restful sleep.
A tip for our viewers, lowering stress levels right before bedtime can help improve your sleep. So create a peaceful sleep environment. Be smart about what you eat at night and stick to a consistent sleep schedule. Stress can also affect your digestive system, your skin, and your overall mental well-being. We'll talk about all of these after a short break. Stay with us here on MedTalk Health Talk. You're watching CNN Philippines. Welcome back to MedTalk Health Talk, your partner in healthcare. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. Stress is a normal part of life. Work or school, relationships, and major life changes. We all go through it. But if the stress is constant, it can affect your body, how you think, and how you feel and your overall behavior. And if left unchecked, it can even lead to a number of health problems. Earlier, we discussed how stress can cause high blood pressure and heart diseases. And it can also impact your digestive system, your skin, as well as your mental health. First of all, I'd like to ask Dr. Ed, can there be lifelong effects of stress, even if that person changes their lifestyle?
Chronic stress can also cause lifelong problems, especially if the person get exposed for a long period of time. And like, for example, the heart, if it's chronically exposed to stress and it's beating fast always, the energy demand of the heart increases, and this might prone the patient and make him at risk for heart problems like clogged arteries or heart attack. Likewise, if a patient is exposed in stress for a long period of time, the blood vessels or tubes in the brain can also break, and this could lead to stroke also.
Do you think that medication is the only way in order to control these types of symptoms caused by chronic stress?
Okay, proper medical consultation is needed for these symptoms, and on top of the usual medical and medicine that your doctor is giving, other life style modification can also be implemented. Like I think we'll be discussing it as we go along, like intervention that patients can also do to help them ease up their stress.
Yes, those are very important interventions indeed. But before that, chronic stress can also increase your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Now, Dr. Bob, please explain how can stress lead to diabetes?
And the reason is when we are stressed, we increase the counter-regulatory hormones, which are contra to insulin, and they will increase the blood sugars of our patient. So this is a sign. So not only are they not treating their diabetes very well or managing their diabetes.
And now obese people are 80 times more likely to get type 2 diabetes. And obesity, which is a growing problem in the country, is often a product of stress. After all, we've all heard the saying, stress eating. Now, Dr. Bob, explain how stress leads naman to overeating.
When a patient has a problem, you've heard this among, in fact, even teenagers or adults, when they have a problem, what do they do? They eat a lot. They eat chocolates, they eat all these bad foods, all these high energy dense foods, and these will all lead to increase of their blood sugars.
So not only does the stress hormone increase your appetite, it also has your craving for sugar-filled foods. And stress can also lead to a lack of sleep, alcohol consumption, and lethargy, which all contribute to obesity. And now I mentioned about alcohol. Dr. Ed, a lot of people may use alcohol as a way to relieve their stress. A lot of people like to think after a busy day's work, they'd like to have a drink. What is the effect of alcohol on someone's heart when it comes to these stressful situations?
If the patient will use alcohol for them to get relief of stress, they may consume a lot of these drinks, and it leads to problems like elevated blood pressure, which would also make them at risk for certain cardiac problems like heart attack or blocked arteries in the heart. So it's best to avoid using alcohol to relieve stress.
But Dr. Ed, is there some truth to having moderate amounts of alcohol to be beneficial for the body, or should we advocate zero alcohol?
A moderate amount can help our patient as long as they can control their intake of these alcoholic drinks. They just have to make sure that they don't go beyond the usual amount needed.
Good advice. Now, have you ever noticed when you're feeling stressed, your skin breaks out? And that's because stress causes a response in your body that makes your skin actually more reactive. Dr. Bob, can you elaborate more on this? Is there a connection between someone's breakout and some of their hormones?
Yes, especially for people who are prone to skin disorders or atopy or neurodermatitis. These are the conditions wherein patients would really have a flare of their condition whenever they are stressed. So sometimes you would have increased amount of itchiness in your body, but this is stress related, or people will tend to scratch their body more often because of the stressful situation. So aside from pruritus or itchiness, the skin manifestations or worsening of their skin lesions, the baldness, all of these are skin manifestations which are actually seen when the patient is stressed.
Now, aside from physical consequences, stress can impact your mental well-being. And when stress becomes overwhelming and prolonged, the risk of mental health problems increases as well. Dr. Ed, could you share about some mental health problems brought about by stress and how it affects the brain?
Okay. Stress can lead to a lot of mental problems and issues, like a patient would feel angry or feel isolated. They could also feel sad. The concentration would also be affected, and also the appetite and also the sleeping patterns. And these, when not properly addressed, could lead to further physical problems, making them at risk for other physical illnesses.
Yes. Now, each situation or challenge we face is different. But how you handle the stress that comes with it can help protect your well-being. We'll discuss some ideas after a short break. Keep it right here on MedTalk Health Talk, only on CNN Philippines. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. This is MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. In today's world, stress can't be avoided. Dr. Ed, what can we do? Someone who has a lot of stress in their lives, what can you recommend?
There are a lot of ways to deal with stress, and the key is to know what works best for you. One way is to exercise. During exercise, our body releases chemicals like endorphins that will help us feel better. It will also help us have a good mood during exercise and even after. Another way is to talk with someone, to your trusted friend or family member. It's important that you're able to unload these stressors to someone else. Another way is to practice relaxation techniques and proper breathing, and also to do mindfulness. Mindfulness is being aware of the present, of just focusing on what you do at a particular time and where you are. It's like taking things one step at a time. Also find time to do what you really enjoy, like your hobbies. And there are different ways to be creative also to do that, especially in this pandemic. And also, if it's really needed, take a break. You rest, and your body might just need time to adapt and to cope.
And we always remind you that regular exercise can lift your mood and increase your overall well-being. Now, Dr. Bob, how exactly does physical activity do that?
The better effects of exercise is that it releases a lot of your anti-stress hormones, your dopamine, your serotonin, which all will make you improve. That's why when after the exercise you feel that high, you feel very, very good after a bout of exercise, and that is the reason your hormones are acting up. You use serotonin and dopamine, which are good hormones, are happy hormones, and make you relax and enjoy the activity more.
The food you eat also plays a part in improving your mood. Dr. Ed, can you take us through how this one works, naman?
Okay, eating a proper diet can also improve a person's mood. And because when a person is under stress, and if he will binge eat, he may be exposing himself to further problems like eating a lot of calories and eating sugary foods, which is commonly seen in stress patients. And this could further add up to the stress and also physical issues later that he'll be facing with. But if the patient would have proper diet, it will also help calm the body, and it will also help the body cope with the physical aspects of stress.
Now, the small fact of talking face-to-face with loved ones can trigger hormones that help relieve stress. But with social distancing protocols, this can prove more difficult. Dr. Ed, what are ways to connect with others today, especially for the elderly who aren't too tech-savvy?
Okay. One way is to do just a simple phone call, like through a landline call. This will ease up the feeling of isolation, and it may make the person's day more happy, and even yours. And also for your elderly friends or relatives who are not technologically savvy, you could invite them for a walk outside or in the park, as long as you practice the necessary health protocols. And also, if the patient have companions in the house that are into technology or internet, you could also encourage or even organize a virtual online discussion or party for your family and friends.
Ultimately, gratitude is a tried and tested practice to minimize stress in someone's life. If you learn to appreciate the good in life, it's easier to think positive in the face of adversity. Dr. Bob, what are ways to cultivate gratitude?
If you fill your life with being grateful for your life, being grateful for your children, for what you are right now, then it creates a positive atmosphere in your well-being. And this exudes positivity in the people you will meet, and they will tell you, oh, he's such a jolly, good person, and this, because it is positive, and people will actually see less stressful situations or less stressed with you, talking to you, being with you, and all of this.
Important indeed. At the end of the day, pause to think about the good stuff. Don't be too hard on yourself, and set goals in order to channel those stressful energies. These are practices that can help build gratitude over time. If you've tried these suggestions and still find yourself needing support, don't be afraid to seek professional medical help. Because at the end of the day, each person is different. and each challenge is different. But knowing your stressors and managing them in healthy ways can help lead to positive outcomes. Thank you to cardiologist Dr. Eduardo Yambao Jr. and endocrinologist Dr. Roberto Mirasol for guiding us today. We appreciate your time very much. And to our viewers, we hope this helped you better understand the care you need and deserve. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and this was MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines.